You want me to cut that somewhere?
Yeah, I was gonna say just right here, be fine.
Right back there? Yeah, she's looking a little long now that I got her all limbed
I
up.
thought the same thing. I thought it broke more than that, but it stayed pretty good.
This is to help kind of hold the hillside back, right?
Yeah, that's how you build roads.
Well, we're rocking and rolling this morning getting this conduit installed. The contractor did the math and he said it's 550 feet. He actually had to go home to get some spare conduit he had laying around, just a few more pieces. The power company came by, they said it's plenty deep enough, so they said we're good. We're probably gonna take some photos just so we have them, just to be safe. And it sounds like our pedestal might be installed today as well, maybe sometime afternoon. So, that just attacked my mic. So we'll see how far we can get today. How are you feeling this morning?
Whew. Not awake yet. I haven't even I had one sip of coffee.
Yeah, might need to bring that out to you.
But yeah, like, go, 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 go. So yeah, our electrician's on his way. He's coming to put the pedestal in because he's got a job like 60 miles away this afternoon. So he's en route right now. So we've had to switch gears. We're gonna go down and get that dug for the grounding rods and get the pedestal base dug out so he can get over here and get that installed. And then we're hoping actually because of that we can get it inspected like chop chop. If that happens, we can actually backfill everything tomorrow morning.
And then we're just waiting for the power company to give us power.
And then we're literally just waiting for somebody to come and pull cable and hook. Well, they got to put a new post in, but anyway. Yeah, so I got to go help him because our electrician's en route, and then we can kind of talk about what all's going on today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say we probably ought to put about where that stake's at. I mean, I know Brian had measured everything. I don't know. They're gonna want some dirt for the grounding rods because I don't think rocks count as ground. It has to make earth contact, and I don't think what they mean by that is rocks. Like, we're gonna have to get some dirt in there. Yeah, isn't that something? Look at that, it's just bucket after bucket of rock.
Just used a post hole digger, they said.
Yeah, just use an auger.
Just use a shovel.
Just use a shovel.
We dug like a 200-foot trench in this stuff with these babies and the help of a really cool tool. If you haven't seen that video, give it a watch. It's our biggest ever. Hey, that's some dirt. Here she is. Big? Whoa, that's cool. Look at that snake.
No, he was right there when I dug by.
Our cat brought one of those home to us once.
Yeah, that's what our cat packed one in the house last year.
Isn't that something?
Whoa.
They're pretty harmless little guys, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh my god, there's two of them.
They're really slow moving.
Well, they're probably colder than heck, I'd imagine.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Ah.
Yeah, they just nesting together, huh?
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Good eye. I don't know that I would have seen that.
How do they get that deep in the freaking soil?
Yeah, look how deep that was.
Nobody knows.
Salamander earlier in the trench up there, I put him off the low side. And one of them little blue-bellied lizards.
Look at him, he's trying to go back down.
Yeah.
His face kind of looks like its butt.
Right?
It's a good looking snake.
Hold on.
I'm surprised you didn't
Hold
hurt
on.
him.
I'm trying to focus.
I can't believe it didn't hurt him. Must have just sloughed away and left
Just
him
sloughed him away. Tongue's out. He's trying to figure out where he's at.
There we go.
Isn't that something? They're not like them speed racer, garden racers or whatever.
Man, them things, they get aggressive, don't they?
The electrician should be here any minute now, so we really want to be here for the pedestal installation, so we're kind of just trying to busy ourselves.
Yeah, we had a lot of tidy up to do from the sawmill that we didn't get done before it snowed again, so.
Do you want to share why we're hiring someone else to put the pedestal on instead of doing it ourselves?
The simple answer is we just need it done. We need it done now, we need it done right, we need to get it stamped. We just don't have time to learn.
We need to work on drying our house in.
Well, yeah, and we need to get it backfilled, so everything has to be exposed for the inspector, and we want our excavator guy to be able to go home. So he's hoping to get that pedestal installed today. We can get the inspector out here today, tomorrow to inspect it, stamp it, and then we can backfill it all. And then we're basically sitting around on our hands waiting for the power company to come pull cable and hook everything up. So that's the reason for hiring somebody. We just need it done, we need it done right, we need it done now. The thing about this build, and many people have commented on it before, like they criticize us because they're like, oh, if you were trying to do this for profit, it would never work. And you're abso-freaking-lutely right. Like, we have never claimed that this is how to make money doing this.
We told our concrete guy our numbers of how long it took us and all that stuff. He's like, oh my God, like you would lose so much money.
Yeah, he gave us like an hour, man hours per yard calculation for profitability, and we were off by like about 3 to 1. Sometimes, like in this situation, we need it done, stamped, and we'll have to just watch and kind of learn from the sidelines.
And I'd say the cost of labor, it's a very reasonable. I guess labor is reasonable on a lot of things, but again, like if you hire out literally your entire house build, just go buy a house. There's
stuff that it doesn't matter if it takes us a week to do, and we can learn on that stuff. And the stuff that there's a lot of repetition, there's actually a lot of learning going on. With the pedestal, they'll be done in an hour. Really, there's not a lot of time to learn, you know, to do that. So that's why, yep, it makes sense sometimes. And in this situation, really, we're about getting the job done right, checked off. And then we've got plenty of work to do.
We have so much work to do.
We're not out of things, we're not bored.
Well, we're back from yet another town run to grab more 2-inch conduit.
Yeah, we were talking to the electrician when the pedestal was going in, and we had asked if we wanted to run secondary voltage, house voltage to the back side of our property, what would we need to do? And we need to bury a conduit for that. A neighbor actually stopped by, a well-meaning neighbor stopped by to tell us that we should bury natural gas, Ethernet, internet, fiber optic, water, sewer, power, 5 or 6 kind of powers in that same trench. Which, if you don't understand the layout of our land, and if you're a typical average everyday utility person, that makes a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense for us. Power is a unique utility on this property. It's the only one that doesn't go right by our property. That's how it was done back in the day. It was kind of a Wild West. They just ran the shortest distance from where they were to where they needed power, and in this case, it's across a huge tree farm.
We're trying to think about where do we want power, or what could we run in this trench, and the only thing we could really think of that makes sense is we might want power on the back side of our property.
So we already cut a road to the back,
And since we're already doing that, it was nothing to add a little trench and bury a conduit in there. And so if we want to put an outlet back there, or we want to end up kind of developing it back there, we can do that too. We've talked about having animals. We've talked about a lot of things that might require power. So we're going to talk more about all those, like why didn't we do this or why didn't we do that, in another video. This is not the video for that.
Stay tuned.
Alyssa, do you know what these are?
It's an alien collar.
No, close.
Oh.
This is so you can talk around a corner.
Oh, totally. That makes sense.
Hey you, around the corner. Can you hear me? So where these two conduits come up out of the ground will be our transformer, and it's a ground-based transformer. So there will be a pedestal, and then they'll install that there. You can see the ground rod poking up there. There's actually 12 feet of ground rod in here, and then our meter pedestal. So we will be putting this 2-inch secondary conduit here, and we'll run it all the way down, and they're actually going to hook and go up on the back side of the property there. We need to put a sweep in right here at the meter so they can come down out of that and into the conduit with the wire. I don't know if we shared already or not. In case we didn't, this is a 200 meter panel and a 200 meter service. We had considered 400 amps, and the electrician that we talked with said the odds of us ever needing 400 amps worth of current is extremely rare. So in order to save money and not overbuild too much, we decided to stay with 200 amps.
So if we didn't do this, our contractor said that the power company would likely want a second service, basically.
Yeah, something
Well,
like...
we suggested tapping into the power line.
That's what it was, yeah. So we were thinking we could put a junction in if the day ever came we wanted power in the back. He said, nope, they'll make you run a whole new service. And we're like, got it, we'll run a conduit.
For anyone that this isn't obvious, this is electrical, not electrical tape.
Warning tape.
Warning tape. So basically,
It's electrical warning tape.
electrical warning tape. There we go. It's kind of like the water warning tape we laid. But this tells people that if they're digging and they see that, there's electrical below, which is just a good idea.
This is not conductive. The tape that we lay for a water line is conductive. It's metallic. So they can find it with a metal detector. This is non-metallic because when they do locate for electrical, they use a different sensor for that, and typically water lines are plastic, so they're non-metallic. So yeah, there's like 50 different kinds of warning tape, who knew? And there's no reason to lay a tracer wire, in case someone's asking that question, because the electrical wire is tracer wire. They can locate it.
So we're gonna get this buried, and that's probably where we're gonna end for the day.
Yep.
Not Jesse and I. We'll probably do some more work.
Oh gosh, yeah, work
hasn't started yet.
We must be the owners, because when everybody else leaves, that's when we start working. So when we just started putting this conduit in, we were in nothing but boulders, and they're all about this big. All of them, like, give or take, right? Right here, where we're standing, is nothing but clay. Look at that. There's not a one rock right there. That's pure clay.
Whoa.
Totally clay. See? Little bit of sand. Little bit of sand right there. But like probably 90% clay. Come look at this.
That's all sand.
This is all heavy sand.
I see why you're supposed to dig 2 test holes for your septic system. We laughed, we're like 50 feet away, like it's probably the same soil.
Yeah, it's 20, 40, about 40 feet apart. There's a huge chunk of clay, and who knows how deep it runs. But then on the lower part of the trench where the power line's buried, huge chunk of like topsoil, real loamy, got a lot of like earth in it, you know, biomaterial. And that's 25 feet down the hill.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah.
What next? Back to timber framing?
I'm gonna check in with our excavator guy, see where he's at, if he needs us to do anything. We need to do some photographs for the utility company.
Have a lot of video.
Yeah, right? Yeah. People are always like, did you get any photos? It'll be fine if you did. I'm like, well, there's only like 10 videos on it on YouTube.
Are you talking like Canon photos, Sony photos, or drone photos? If so, the answer is yes.
Yeah, we have high res, high altitude, low altitude.
Do you want a time lapse or would you prefer a still photo?
Yeah, we've got it all that, yeah.
Wow. This gets backfilled quick, don't it?
Another amazing day of work. These long days are kind of wearing us out already, but we know we're just getting started on our building season. We've looked at the schedule, and at least the next couple of months we're going to be flat moving as we get the house dried in, get this power connected, and I guess finish all those projects. So we feel like we've learned a lot about primary power connection. We feel like, given what we learned about this pedestal, we probably could have done the work ourselves. It really was as simple as they said it was. Our power company sent us a detailed drawing of what they need to hook it up, and well, there it is. That's exactly what they said they needed. So we feel kind of silly having hired that out, but we also feel good knowing it's done right and done simply.
We're hoping to get this project wrapped up tomorrow. We've got a flood watch warning coming in about a day. I think we've got about a ½ inch of rain or more, maybe an inch of rain coming in about 36 hours, 48 hours. So we've got to get this wrapped up. We still have a long way to go to get the timber frame ready for sit panels. So it'll feel good to have this kind of sitting on the back burner, and then we're waiting for spring load limits to be lifted before the utility company can come pull their power. And we've got to get everything inspected, which I think the inspector's coming tomorrow to sign off on our panel. And once that's done, power company pulls wire, we should be connected.
I think having this trench dug and cutting this road and everything has been a good eye-opener for Alyssa and I. This is the reason that we hand dug the trench to the top of our hill. We actually had a company lined up to do something similar to this, but we really didn't want to do this much changing to the landscape. We wanted to leave it as intact as possible. So I think we're glad that we did it the way we did, although it's clear, you know, we certainly did it the hardest possible way. Having this road around the back is going to be wonderful. Look forward to doing a little bit of work on it and getting it functional, and then hopefully we can actually find a use for the backside of our property.
Well, camera battery's dead. I think it's time for dinner. I know Alyssa's hard at work getting a video out for you folks. So I think I'm gonna go work on some of our timber framing stuff. I think we still have a full day on getting those timber frame braces cut. So that'll feel good to have that stuff done. I think we may have some help coming this weekend to help us work on getting our pre-SIP checklist done. A couple of flight lessons in there. It's gonna be a really busy week.
Made me really happy that we were able to use the grounding rod, clamp, and wire that we bought before we started our footings. Our concrete guy actually told us to put what's called a UFER ground in our footings. So we still had this grounding rod and clamp and everything we had purchased. And today we actually got to use it. The electrician pre-installed this outlet for us, which will give us power on the property right away. And then when we're good and ready, we can run secondary power to the house. He let us know that we can actually install a 100 or 125 amp breaker in here and run that to a shop or a secondary building if we want. And then there's still room in here for an additional breaker. And of course we have our 200 amp main breaker. And it still doesn't feel right. I can't really tell you how it feels, but soon there will be a meter turning right there, and we will be one of those people paying the power company.